If you came here looking for answers, real answers about what's actually hiding inside one of the most dangerous abandoned places in the desert, then stay with me, because what we found out there wasn't just unsettling. It was something we couldn't fully explain, and by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why people don't come back here after dark. We're about to enter a place that's been surrounded by controversy for years, not just rumors, real stories involving cults, violence, and things that don't quite make sense when you try to piece them together even before stepping inside. There's already this feeling like you're being watched, and then you start noticing things, messages scratched into walls, symbols sprayed across concrete. Some of them don't even try to hide what they mean. You see that clearly says, die. And yeah, at one point I was bleeding, and I couldn't even explain how it happened. This is Lake Dolores Water Park, one of the first water parks in the United States. It used to be something completely different from what it is now. Back then, it was an oasis, literally a place in the middle of the Mojave Desert where families would stop, cool off, and escape the heat. Positioned right along the interstate between Las Vegas and Los Angeles, it became a perfect stop for travelers. People came here to swim, to relax, to forget they were surrounded by miles of dry, empty desert. But that version of this place is long gone. After multiple failed attempts to keep it running, everything changed. Attendance dropped, management changed hands, and then came the accident, one that would permanently mark this place. Several people were injured, and one man was left paralyzed. After that, the park never recovered. It shut down, reopened briefly, and then shut down again for good. It's been abandoned for over 2 decades now. On the surface, it still looks like an oasis, but not the kind people used to come for. Now it feels like something else entirely, a refuge. But not for families, for people who don't want to be found, for explorers chasing adrenaline, and maybe for things that don't belong here at all. We just arrived at the entrance. This is it, and even standing here, something feels off. What are you smelling right now? It hits almost immediately, that sharp chemical scent, like spray paint. Like someone was just here, and that's the thing, it's not old. It's fresh, which means one of two things: either someone was here recently, or they still are. And when that thought settles in, the silence around you starts to feel heavier, not just quiet, but watchful, like every step you take is being noticed, even if you can't see by who at first. That might not sound terrifying, but when you're standing at the edge of an abandoned place in the middle of the desert, realizing you might not be alone, it changes everything. Back in the 1960s, this place started as something small. John and Dolores Beyer built it as a homemade getaway, something simple but special. Over time, it grew. By the late 70s and early 80s, it had transformed into a full water park. There were slides, a lazy river, an arcade, picnic areas, everything you'd expect from a destination meant for fun. People didn't just stop here. They stayed, they camped, some even water skied in the middle of the desert, which sounds impossible until you realize that for a while it wasn't. But success didn't last. In 1986, the park was sold. The new plan was ambitious: turn it into a massive RV resort, but that plan fell apart. The park reopened briefly, then closed again in 1989. For nearly 10 years, it just sat here, empty. Then, in 1998, someone tried to bring it back, a full $20 million renovation, a new name, Rockahula Water Park. The idea was to revive it, give it a second life, but within a year, everything collapsed. A catastrophic accident involving a water slide left an employee paralyzed. The lawsuit that followed cost $4.4 million, and that was enough to destroy what was left of the business. By 2000, the park was effectively done. By 2004, it was officially over, and ever since then, it's been left to decay. We're moving further in now, and the deeper we go, the worse it feels. The structures are barely holding themselves together. Metal is rusted through, concrete is cracked and uneven beneath every step. Some floors feel hollow, like they could give way if you put too much weight on them. Walls are covered in graffiti, layers and layers of it, some artistic, some disturbing, some not something you'd want to stare at too long, and then you start noticing patterns. Same symbols repeated in different areas, the same phrases showing up again and again. Like whoever was here wasn't just passing through, they were leaving. Something behind something intentional. We turned a corner, and that's when it changed. There was a sound, not loud, not sudden, just enough to make you stop, like something shifting somewhere deeper inside the structure. A scrape, a movement, something that didn't match the stillness around us. And then another one closer this time, and you feel it before you even react. That instinct, that sudden awareness that you might not be observing this place anymore. You might be part of it. Your breathing slows, not because you want it to, but because something about the space makes you feel like you should. Like making noise would be a mistaken for a second. Everything just holds still, no wind, no echo, no distant sound from the outside world, just you and whatever might be somewhere beyond those walls. And in that moment, you don't think about history anymore. You don't think about the stories. You don't think about the past. You think about right now, about the possibility that whatever left those markings, whatever's been moving through this place, might not be as far away as you'd like to believe, because places like this don't just feel abandoned sometimes. They feel occupied, and the longer you stay, the more that feeling starts to shift from curiosity to something much harder to ignore, something that doesn't ask you to believe, only to notice. And once you notice it, you start realizing something even more unsettling. Maybe this place was never completely empty. Maybe it just learned how to feel that way. And the scariest part isn't what you see, it's what you start to feel when you can't see anything at all. Oh, look at that corridor. It stretches ahead, dark and narrow. This is terrifying. And then, what? I'm just hearing stuff. Like what? I don't know. Like walking. You try to rationalize it. Maybe it's just echoes, maybe it's us, but it doesn't feel like that. Air feels thicker now, like sound doesn't travel the way it should. Like every step you take gets swallowed before it can fully exist, and then you see it, fresh paint, still glistening. Someone was definitely here recently, not hours ago, minutes. How do you feel? There's no answer at first. Just silence, then suddenly panic. Where's she at? And for a second, it actually feels like someone's gone. That moment hits harder than anything else so far, heart racing, trying to process what just happened. Then she reappears, shaken, trying to catch her breath. I was right here. But it didn't feel like it. It felt like something pulled the space apart for just a second, like distance didn't make sense anymore, like you looked away for a second and reality shifted just enough to confuse you. We keep moving, but now everything feels different. The sun is gone, darkness settles in, and with it comes this heavy, suffocating atmosphere. This place isn't just abandoned, it feels occupied, not in a normal way. Something else, something that doesn't move, but notices, something that doesn't chase, but waits. People have talked about this before. Urban explorers, bloggers, even YouTubers who've come here at night. Some of them refuse to come back. They talk about the energy here, how it feels wrong. Like something happened that never really left, like the place remembers, like every wall, every hallway, every broken structure is holding on to something. There are rumors, too, about rituals, about people using this place for things they don't want seen. There's no security, no oversight. Out here, anything can happen, and maybe it has, maybe more than anyone knows about. 100 feet in, the feeling gets stronger. I don't get good vibes from this place. Yeah, same. There's no concrete evidence of anything paranormal here, not officially. But that doesn't mean much when you're standing in the middle of it, feeling what we're feeling. We enter one of the buildings. It might have been the arcade once. Now it's barely standing. Ceiling hangs low, pieces of it look like they could fall at any moment. Floor is uneven, covered in dust, broken glass, and things you don't want to step. An EMF sensor. It's supposed to detect fluctuation, something, anything. Nothing, flat, silent, no spikes. No movement, no sign of anything unusual, but somehow that makes it worse because if something is here, it's not showing itself the way you expect. Did you hear that? A rustle, faint but real, not wind, not loose debris, something else, something that stops the moment you focus on it. Is someone in there? No answer, we call out anyway. If anyone is here with us, give us a sign. Nothing, but the tension builds like something is listening and choosing not to respond, like it hears you clearly, but doesn't want you to know it does. Then, we see Ida room marked clearly, the word die painted across it, fresh enough to stand out from everything else, brighter than the older graffiti around it, like it was meant to be noticed. Maybe we shouldn't go in there, but curiosity wins, it always does. Stepping inside feels wrong immediately. Like you've crossed into a space you weren't meant to enter. The air changes, colder, heavier, quieter, even. Your own breathing sounds out of place, like you're too loud for this room, like you don't belong here or something. Brushes past, a sudden jolt, probably a bug, but it doesn't feel like one, it feels intentional, like something moved close enough for you to notice, but not enough for you to see. We leave that room, but the unease doesn't go away. If anything, it gets worse the deeper we go. There's something about this place, something tied to what happened here, something tied to the past that never fully settled, especially near the slides. That's where we're heading, and the closer we get, quieter everything becomes. No wind, no distant sounds, no movement, just silence, heavy, unnatural silence. Back in 1999, an off-duty employee named James Mason rode one of the slides after hours. The ride wasn't active. The pool at the bottom didn't have enough water. He crashed into the end. The impact left him paralyzed. That lawsuit, it didn't just hurt the park financially, it changed everything. It marked the beginning of the end, and some people believe it marked something else. Two-way shift, like something in this place broke, not physically, something else, something harder to explain. There are other stories, less confirmed but still circulating. One about a 6-year-old boy drowning, listed among the final incidents before the park shut down. Whether it's true or not, it adds to the feeling that something here went very wrong, not just accidents, but something deeper, something that left a mark. We reach a bridge. I'm going to try something. Stepping out to the center, the wood creaks under every step, louder than it should, like it's echoing through the entire structure, like something underneath is responding to the pressure, calling out again. If there's anyone here. The words feel heavy, leaving your mouth, like they don't belong here, like they're not meant to be said out loud. And then, I'm bleeding, out of nowhere, no clear cause, no sharp edge, no fall, just blood, fresh, slowly forming. And in that moment, everything stops. No one moves, no one speaks, because whatever this place is, whatever happened here, whatever, still lingers in the corners and the silence and the spaces between what we can see. It might not be as empty as it looks, and the worst part, it doesn't feel like it wants us here. It feels like it's letting us stay for now. Before we can even process it, there's someone over there. What? I swear I saw someone, a figure standing at a distance, still not moving just there, but when we look, there's nothing, empty space, no movement, no sound, nothing that should have been there in the first place. We stand there longer than we should, waiting, hoping maybe it appears again, but it doesn't. We take a moment to regroup, breathing, trying to make sense of everything, trying to convince ourselves there's an explanation, but nothing feels solid anymore, nothing feels certain, but the decision is made. We keep going because the slides, the center of all of this, are right there, and at this point turning back almost feels worse, like leaving without answers would follow us longer than staying, so we move forward, slow steps, watching everything, listening harder than before. We reach them. Slides tower above us, silent, broken, empty, and that's when things escalate. Pentagram painted nearby, fresh dark lines still sharp against the surface, deliberate, placed with intention. This isn't just random graffiti. This feels planned, like someone wanted this exact spot. We look around, no one there, but it doesn't feel empty. It feels watched. We bring out the spirit box, static fills the air. immediately loud enough to cut through the silence. If there's anyone here, make yourself known. At first, nothing but noise fragments of radio signals cutting in and out, and a voice faint but unmistakable. Hello. We freeze, look at each other, trying to confirm we all heard the same thing again, clear. Hello. That wasn't static, that wasn't random. Are you a victim of this place? No. Immediate, sharp, almost like it was waiting for the question. That response changes everything. If it's not a victim, no clear answer, just more fragments, broken pieces of sound, hard to fully understand, but then come out over and over, repeating like something is trying to call something else forward, like it's not alone. The air feels heavier now, like pressure building around us, like the space itself is tightening. This isn't curiosity anymore, it's something else, something. We don't fully understand something. Feels like it belongs there, like it's part of that place now, and it's not going anywhere. We can't say for certain what we experienced that night. There are explanations for some things. Sounds can echo minds, can play tricks. Fear can change how you see and hear, but for others, not so much. Some things don't fit, some moments stay with you longer than they should, and one thing is clear: Lake Dolores Waterpark isn't just an abandoned attraction. It's not just broken slides and empty buildings. There's something deeper beneath the surface, something tied to everything that happened there, something that hasn't fully faded, and once you feel it for yourself, once you stand in that silence and realize you might not be alone, you don't forget it, not easily.